Nyeba kunle namdole shin yunde kunge kemba semjen kunge nyen chikwan tamje ken lai gu chan. Again, we were discussing about the conduct for Buddhist path. And yesterday and day before, um, we talked about the pure intention, bodhicitta, and the downfall or the negative aspects of our impure mind, which are self-cherishing, jealousy, envy, and so forth. There's a beautiful story. Maybe this is relevant when we practice bodhicitta specifically, but in general in Buddhism. Usually I would like to call it the story of happiness. Maybe you have heard this before. It's a short story but very essential story. It is said that there was a person and he wants to practice Dhamma and get rid of suffering as soon as possible without much effort. And he came to Buddha and said that since you are Buddha, I need this very profound instruction. I really want to be happy. And so tell me, what should I do? And Buddha looked at him and smiled and said, sure, it's quite easy. And Buddha said, just look back and when you say I want to be happy, just erase the first I. Is the ego. So just erase that And then the second, you say want, erase that as well. It's a desire which came from ego. And when you erase the I, which is ego, and erase the desire, which is the afflictive emotion, and then there will be only one thing that is left, that is happiness. So I think, as Shantideva said, that we want to be happy, saying I want to be happy, but we focus too much on this happiness and we forget this I and want. And what we do, we try to nurture the I, we try to accumulate the one, and say that I want happiness. It doesn't just work, because that's not the cause and conditions. Yeah? If you want to be happy, reduce the I, reduce the want. The more you reduce the I, the more you nurture and more you develop this I and one, and that's impossible to have happiness, because these are not cause of the happiness. It will just bring more and more suffering. This is exactly, we can see very clearly in our daily life, individually or collectively. Because there's too much greed, and that's why we are having so many man-made problems. These are not just accident, actually many of these are just result of our I and want. So and when we practice in general, I think especially like meditation, in the text it says that in order to take care, or in order to work with the mind, habit, it should be like how you walk and how you tame the elephant. That's a quite important, I think, metaphor. So there's, I think, three things. Maybe you can call it 3C, I don't know, but somehow. Okay, so you want to tame the elephant, but if you start fighting with the elephant from the very beginning, it's impossible to contact with the elephant. So we should not fight. We should not be go far from that elephant. We have to try to be close to it, isn't it? I mean, let's say you have a wild elephant and you're trying to tame it and use that elephant. So first thing is communication. It's very important. You have to communicate with the elephant, right? Maybe giving him some food or something. So this is first thing exactly. Also, when we practice or when we meditate, you have to communicate gently with your thoughts and emotions, rather than attacking them or blocking them from the beginning. It will be like you start screaming to the elephant, with the, it just doesn't work. He will just go far away. And second thing is connecting. So connecting in the sense that after you become familiar with the elephant, and you will give him something, and he will not get afraid of you. So you will have some kind of trust exchange there. He will also realize that this person is not a threat to me. So when you have this contact, and it's easy to work, you can say each other, what you mean. This is also same with our thoughts and emotion when we practice. Having in this sense, is contact means that not just making our meditation or practice intellectual play, really trying to feel it, experience it, with not saying this is good, this is bad, I want to talk, but being with them, flowing with them. So the second thing is, I think the contact is very important. And the third thing is, I think you can say conquest, but in the sense that, let's say you communicate with this elephant, you contact. So what is our goal? Our goal is so that the elephant become our friend. And since he's very strong, we can use this elephant in order to fulfill whatever is our aim, right? So that's the purpose of elephant. Similarly, once you become familiar with our own thoughts, emotions, and practices, and we can feel that we can actually use any kind of thought, emotions as an meaningful, as in something that is usable for my, let's say, the goal of enlightenment. You don't have to be very dualistic between good, bad, So anything can be usable at that moment. And that, I think, in the sense that you don't have to become a slave of your thought. And you can tell your thoughts what to do in a way, instead of just following our thoughts and complaining it. So maybe from the practice point of view, you can say that when you can be in this complete balance, and that is like conquering that elephant. So communication, contact, and conquering. So this, I think, you can use in meditation, but also in our general path, whatever practice we do. So today, I will say a little bit about this. The one way to look at our conduct, one way to categorize traditional is that categorizing our practice or conduct in, we call it the path of accumulation and the path of wisdom. And this is also important to know the differences but also it is very important to know that how these are complement each other, because many times we kind of feel that these are paradox, and it is sometimes difficult for us to practice them in the form of unity. So I think we can say that in easy to understand it, path of accumulation. So usually we can say the path of accumulation consists of a lot of physical, verbal, culture, rituals. There's a lot of that aspects of practices. And path of wisdom usually is more related to our mind rather than physical actions, and it is more how to say mental, and it is more related to non-dual aspects of our practices. So in a way, we can say that this path of aspirations or accumulation of merit is like collecting all the necessary causes and conditions together as much as we can. So it would be like let's say you want to see some nice picture, like nice picture. So all these path of accumulations would be like the pieces of those pixels. They are different. Some of them are white, some of them are black, many different colors. And what happens when you put all these pixels together in the proper order, you see something as a picture, and you recognize it, or maybe it's a mountain, or maybe it's water, or whatever it is. So now if you look at directly, these are very related, but these are very different. For example, if you look at from the pixels point of view, it's just a small dots or squares, But when you put them, many of them put it together, you see something different, which is we call the picture. So this is very similar to how the path of accumulation works. Accumulation and wisdom works. You gather all the path of accumulation, and as a result, you will have this path of wisdom. But the problem is that, let's say, maybe I will do one prostration, right? And this is a path of accumulation. But the problem is that since enlightenment is a very big result, it's like a very high quality picture. You need billions of pixels, You cannot just see the enlightenment with 100 pixels or 200 pixels. So what happened to us is that often that, I did 100 prostrations, but I didn't see anything, like nothing happens. That will be like, you zoom this, let's say, 1 billion picture of pixels, and just look at the 10 pixel of them and see where is the picture. I don't see anything. It's just 4 squares, 10 squares. You don't see it because it's too small. It's not that enlightenment is not. You are seeing enlightenment, but it's quite small. it's happening in very our subconscious level. Yeah. So each time you do prostration, actually you're putting one more pixel, right? So we should not be discouraged by just saying, it takes time, definitely. So in order to see the picture, you have to have quite a lot of accumulation, lot of pixels. And you remember, you have to have a trust, faith. Even the one you do the one prostration is not going the best. It will be there because there's the law of nature. It will be there. So you have put it one more pixel. But did I see the enlightenment? No, it was too small. And we have to have a courage to wait. So all this path of accumulations, we do something we might not see right now, but it's happening. There's no doubt at all. Because that's the law of nature. You have cause, there will be condition, and the result. Even you don't want, it will be there. So because of that, there's some kind of misunderstanding, not misunderstanding, but lack of faith. It's hard to start the business. Okay, so what we are saying is that actually, like let's say we pray every day to Buddha Shakyamuni, but we might lost our interest, and we might say that, Buddha Shakyamuni, one day, first, you show me a little bit of your toe, then I will practice rigorously, right? And then Buddha will tell us that, you believe and practice, you will see me later. So that's a very, it's almost like a saying in the business that you show me first before you invest the money, and if the other person say, okay, so you first show me the profit and I will invest, right? But other person will say, no, first you invest and you will get the profit. So there's a business going between us and Shakyamuni Buddha of who will start first. So we have this very, almost like hope and kind of like, okay, if one day Buddha Shakyamuni just magically show us, then I can really believe. Until I cannot believe. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's not how it doesn't, because unless you put these pictures together, there is no picture. But when you put pictures together, there will be picture without a doubt. So this and you can also see these problems since especially in the Vajrayana and Tibetan Buddhism, because we practice a lot of visual Vajrayana oriented, and there's so many paths of accumulation such as doing puja, practicing rituals and so forth, like offering. Usually we say there's two kinds of obscurations: emotional obscurations and the cognitive obscurations. But I think we can also say that by culture, because we have different culture. I'm talking about just in my opinion in our these days. So we have this Eastern way of practicing Dharma, and there's a Western way of practicing Dharma. We came from a different background. So we can see that there's this sense of maybe I think you can call it Eastern obscuration and Western obscuration, I don't know. But it's kind of like this, we always have this little bit bias between this path of accumulation and the path of wisdom. So for example, in the East, path of accumulation is very, very emphasized because of many reasons. I'm generalizing it, of course. So there's a danger of being irresponsible practitioner. Usually I call it irresponsible practitioner and arrogant practitioner. You know, what I'm trying to say is that in the East, in our culture, offering, taking refuge, praying, recitation to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, my Guru, he will take care of everything. It's very strong there. It's very good. But sometimes when it becomes too much, then you become irresponsible. As if that I don't have to do anything, or I have prayed, so Buddha will take care. So you don't really check what is happening in your mind. Instead of I have offered, so Buddha will take care of me, my Guru will take care of me, those kind of things. Which is a little bit over faith, or a little bit, we can say, extreme faith. So you might become an irresponsible practitioner by falling into the extreme self-path of accumulation. And now, on the other side, maybe in the West, again, of course, I'm just generalizing, that there's a danger of being arrogant practitioners, and then saying that now all these are Indian culture, Tibetan culture, or this is Tibetan thing, that is Indian thing. It's very true whenever we do the path of accumulation. So why we prostrate like this, why Buddha looks like that, why we make 7 offerings. Yes, because it is a way of communication, and it happened in India. You don't use Western culture into Indian to communicate, right? For the Indians, we have to use the Indian culture, like you have to speak in Hindi. If you speak in English, nobody will understand. But that is not the point. The point is that what that culture helps, and what that means, what it signifies, right? That's the important. And that it doesn't really matter east or west. But just saying that this is Indian culture, Tibetan culture, it is not Dharma. Even some people say like that, yeah, Dharma is something very, that's also danger. Of course, we can say intellectually, oh, it's nothing but awakening and looking, but it doesn't really help. It's almost like saying that I want to drink this very nice coffee, but I don't care about the cup. Right? How are you going to drink? Are you going to put coffee directly into your mouth, because your mouth will be, So this culture, this is like a cup, and Dharma is like a coffee inside. Yes, there's different cup, different value in a different culture, but that's not important. But problem is that we need a cup in order to hold the coffee, right? So it's important to extract what is coming from that. And just saying that, oh, wisdom is important and all the other parts are culture, it's also a danger of falling into the arrogance. So, and also there's this, what is the ultimate truth? I want to understand it by my logic, my intellectual, by reading book. That's very difficult. You have to rely on guru, instruction, accumulation, all these kind of things. So when you don't fall into these two extremes of being arrogant, also being irresponsible, and that is exactly, the prayer where it says that path should be free from the exaggeration and the denigration. So exactly this is meant. Denigration means that you're denying all the other paths and just saying, oh, only the wisdom matters. And exaggeration means that, oh, he will take care of, or I pray, he will come, and when it becomes 100,000, that's also a little bit exaggeration. It's not falling into these two extremes is very, very important. So being the middle way practitioner. And also because of this, you can see there's emphasis on the intellectual approach and the emphasis on the faith. And of course, we need both of them. It's like one is like the body, faith is like the body, intellectual is like head. And if you say one is important, other is not, then it's saying that head is important, not body, or body is important, not head. Yeah. So, especially as a beginner, it's very important to focus on the path of accumulation, because this is something we can do. And if you look at all the preliminary mantra practices, it's all about the mostly path of accumulations. Of course, for the sake of path of wisdom, but the general body is path of accumulation. So, for example, let's say we do this 7 branch practice. Yeah, these are path of accumulation. Because what we have now is that we have arrogance. We have not being able to let go. All these emotion problems, we have. So first we have to eliminate those emotional problems as soon as possible. And that's why we have to practice those. So, for example, we call the 7 branch here: homage, offering, confession, rejoicing, and the rejoicing our one's own merit as well as others, and requesting the turning the wheel of Dharma. That is more like understanding the value of teaching, reminding oneself it's not easy to encounter with Dharma, and valuing that whatever Dharma you have received, we have to really maintain that, and we have to take care of that Dharma. And also at the end we have supplicating that, making invocation that not to pass into nirvana. And that is also a gesture of saying that appreciating or having a gratitude towards the spiritual teacher. This is very important. Because sometimes we meet these teachers and teachings easily, and then we just take granted and we forget that. And if we really practice, actually, even just few lines from the teaching can change our life. You don't have to study or memorize many books. Just few lines is enough. If we really practice and put it in our daily life. And similarly, of course, a very common way to categorize our conduct as is like 6 parameters. So all these are generosity, ethics, patience, and diligence or endeavor, concentration, wisdom. So you can say among the 6 parameters, from generosity to concentration is a path of accumulation. The last one is a wisdom. But I think it's important to understand that 6 parameters in our practical way, that when we say generosity, it is not necessarily mean that you have to give something to somebody, physically. It means that you have to be able to let go. We have to be ready for that. That's important, because normally when we say 6 parameters, seems like we are doing some action, yeah, but it is, but actually it's a way of thinking, not just the action. So it means that, okay, if something happens to me, yeah, let's say I have something, let's say this is my flower, yeah, and then if I have a strong attachment to this flower, and I'm being very, I have this strong hope and fear, I wish it will stay like that, or tomorrow it's gonna be rotten, and this is, you are not practicing generosity. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to take this flower and give it to somebody else. It is, but it also means that you have to let go. You have to have this flexibility of being able to let go. That's very important. Yeah, because sometimes people say, I cannot practice generosity because I have house, I have family, I have this and that. Yeah, I cannot give them because I have children. But yeah, but then something might happen tomorrow. To your children, your family. And at that time, you should not be overreacting. Remember, practicing the equanimity. You have to be ready, like, okay, it was mine, but now it's gone. And it's the nature of thing, as it says in the practice, that whatever is born will die. It's a part of this process. And whatever you have accumulated, in one day it will be depart. That's the nature. So you have to have that kind of mentality. That's important. Yeah, ready to let go. So not only outer thing, but also our emotional attachments. Yeah, this is the real practice of generosity. And again, also like discipline is not necessarily like being very careful, not eating meat. Yes, these are all okay, but discipline in here means that, okay, what is my goal? Yeah, and what kind of favorable and unfavorable conditions that I need, rather than randomly doing everything. No, you have to scan, and you have to really know very careful that what is important for you, what is not. Scanning between what is necessary, what is unnecessary, and then acting accordingly. So knowing what is favorable and what is unfavorable for your vision, in this context for the enlightenment, and doing what is favorable, trying not to do what is unfavorable. Yeah, it's quite easy. So it's not really like discipline as in, I can do this, I cannot do that. Not really like that. It is, but it is, maybe you can say, the one layers of discipline. And the patient, again, patient doesn't necessarily means that being suppressed, or let's say, I cannot scream because if I scream, I will break the bow up, and then I will create the negativity. It's not like that. Patient means that actually the definition of patient is not being disturbed. So it means that today it will be nice weather, tomorrow it won't be nice weather, So every morning when you get up and you look around, and if you see nice weather, appreciate that. If you don't see nice weather, don't be disturbed by these conditions. Okay, maybe you go in the morning, you will meet your friend, maybe you will meet your enemies, yeah? But be who you are, not influenced by those, friends, families, dislike conditions that disturb you. If it disturbs you, you are not in a patient. Mitupa. So patient doesn't mean like suppressing or insisting not to react. It means that accepting whatever it is and not to be overwhelmed by the conditions. And endeavor it's like, okay, so we have to do many things, right? We have lots of things to do. But many times, since we are not very clear about what is necessary and what is not, and then we use a lot of our time and energy to something that is not important, that is, it doesn't fit to our goal, right? So trying to use our time and energy which is related to our goal, that is a diligent. And doing it with a joy, not like, for example, if we have to do daily practice, really understanding this practice, enlightenment is my goal, and this practice is the causes for that. And I'm just accumulating causes in order to achieve my goal. Like remember the pixel in the picture. It's not like, oh, I have took the oath to practice every day. If I don't do, I will be punished. So I have to do it and finish it as soon as possible. Not that way. That's not diligent. So you have to do it. It is with joyful, through understanding how this is important for you and how this is related to your vision or goal. And of course, the concentration. Concentration is like focusing your energy, right? Sometimes we scatter our energy too much, and you are working very hard, but then you're not focusing, so nothing is happening. So instead of doing 10 things a day, maybe do 3 things, and focus that. And then of course the wisdom is a clarity. As a result, you will see things more and more clear. So yeah, these are some points that we should keep in mind, since we have to practice wisdom and path of accumulation both together. But many times, because of lack of wisdom, we might think, oh, maybe this is important, that is not important. Or maybe you get a little bit bored because you're a little bit over expected, and those kind of things. So it's important not to fall into the extremes of one of them. And also, as I said, that the 6 parameters, whenever we talk about, say, okay, I'm practicing generosity, not necessarily mean opening a charity or going somewhere and distributing food, not necessarily. We can also practice all the 6 parameters in your daily life mentally. You have to train in all these, being able to let go, not being disturbed by the ups and downs of your daily conditions, and being very clear about what you really should do and what you should not do, what is favorable or not, and what is important or not, and so forth. So then even you're just doing your daily thing, but you can transform all those activities into practicing 6 parameters. So this is the one way to look at the conduct from the perspective of path of accumulation and path of wisdom. Sunam de tamche sikpani tamne nyepe dranam pamche ne kega nache bolai kupai sipe sole drowa sho.
By this merit may all attain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara may I free all beings.